Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, as in the previous lecture, we have discussed something about the action, non-action, sentences, and then tenses, and now we have started the tenses directly. So today, in the previous lecture, we talked about the state of action and the time. Today, I'd like to talk about the present indefinite tense and action sentence. So I'm not, as I have discussed earlier on, that we are not going to learn in the way that we were learning earlier on, like Urdu speakers with ta hai, ti hai, and te hai. Now we would like to learn in the situation, that in what context, in what kind of situation we can use present indefinite tense. So basically, first of all, I'd like to share the basic rule of making present indefinite tense with you, and that's like uh, how to form the present indefinite tense. Basically, there are three categories of pronoun: first person, second person, and third person. So with the third person singulars, which are he, she, it, or any singular noun like Ellie, plus, as we say sometime, your father, my mother. Basically, in both of these also the focus is father and mother, so these are singular. So with singular nouns, or with third person singular pronouns like these one, we use verb first form with the addition of s and es. Verb first form with the addition of s or es. Like we can use with them write, writes, and or goes. What I want to say is like that your father goes to USA. So now here your father is similar with all these pronouns and nouns. So this is not the same category. So whenever we are using this category, we have to use s or es with the verb. For example, if we are saying that he writes a letter, so this is quite simple thing that you know. And the rest of the categories of pronoun means second person and third person, and any other plural pronoun, like we can say they, third person plural, I, although it is singular, but we, you, it is used as singular and plural, and then any other plural pronoun, uh, your brothers. So with all of them, what you need to do, you need to use only verb first form, present form of the verb. You need not to add any extra s or es with it. Mean, my brothers like mangoes. I'm not saying likes mangoes. So this is the basic rule how to form the present tense. You already know it, so that's why I'm not going in too much detail of it. Now, what my prime focus of this lecture is about the usage, in what situation. So as I have translated, as I have written these sentences, I have spoken them. I didn't tell you your father goes to USA, तुम्हारे अब्बू USA जाते हैं. So this is not our prime focus to make you fluent. So our prime focus is in which situation you should use these sentences. So one by one I am going to share with you. First, whenever you are talking about habitual action of the present time, like whenever we ask you about your routine, your daily routine, and you say I get up early in the morning, they live here, he beats his son. So here, unfortunately, I have written this is beats his son. So now all these are the present indefinite tenses, and why we are using them here like this, because this is our habitual action, or we are talking about our routine work. If I ask you, tell me about your daily routine, so whenever you will be telling about your daily routine, you will be using present indefinite tense. So one situation is this one. In this scenario, you need not to go back and translate, you just try to know that okay, you are talking about your routine work and you are speaking in the present time. Then about the general truths, or we can call them the universal truths. In another term, they are also considered the universal truths. So first of all, I'd like to ask you, what does universal truths mean? So there are two, uh, we can say, two different dimensions of the truths. Truth, whenever it is spoken, mean one dimension is time, and the second dimension is place, wherever it is spoken. So whatever there is the statement, in any time, if it is being spoken and it is truth, whether in the past, present, or future, and wherever it is spoken and it is considered truth, whether it is in Pakistan, in India, in Malaysia, in America, in Canada, wherever you are speaking on the earth, that is considered as a fact or truth, that is called universal truth. So such a statements, uh, such kind of statements are also spoken in the present indefinite tense, or stated in present indefinite tense, like the earth revolves around the sun sets in the west, 2 and 2 makes 4. So these all are the universal truths, and that's why we use present indefinite tense for all of these universal truths. So this is now the second usage. In this situation, when you are talking about the universal truth, you need not to go back and translate, you just quickly speak up in the present indefinite tense. Then when you're talking about exclamatory sentences and they are starting with here and there, like we say, here comes the bus, there she goes. So in all these kind of sentences, we use present indefinite tense. So how we are exclamating something in our exclamatory expressions, if we are starting the sentence with here and there, we will use present indefinite tense over there as well. So this is another use of present indefinite tense. Then sometimes we are talking about the future, but the event that is the part of the future, but that is a fixed kind of timetable, like I teach on the daily basis. So the for example, there is a schedule of Champions Trophy or a World Cup. So then, every day there is a match, there is a fixed schedule or time. Then in that situation, you use present indefinite tense. The match starts at 9 o'clock. So usually it starts at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So it is considered that tomorrow it also will start at 9 o'clock. And when we are talking about this fixed time, we will use the match starts at 9 o'clock. You one person, let me explain you a bit more. For example, you are standing in the ground, there the match is expected at 9 o'clock. So you are standing over there at 8:15, and a person comes to you and he's asking you when the match is going to be started, and you simply say that the match starts at 9 o'clock. You can say it will start, but you will say it starts at 9 o'clock. It means this is the routine. It will start at 9 o'clock, and now the match has not started. You are telling him at 8:15. So, but you are telling him about the future, and that is a fixed program or time. So that's why you are using present indefinite tense here. Similarly, when someone asks you when the train will leave, you can say the train leaves at 5:20. So in these scenarios, you can use present indefinite as well. Now the next one, when you are introducing any kind of quotations and all these things, you say, for example, you say Iqbal says, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना. So now this is a quotation. So like you say, Bacon says, read not to contradict, not to believe, but to weigh and consider. So now this says is about present indefinite tense, and we are introducing this quotation. In the second sentence, we can also say Shakespeare says, Frailty, thy name is woman. Now this is the wording of Shakespeare, and here we are using present indefinite tense. So to introduce quotations, we can use present indefinite tense as well. Then there is another use we are going to discuss. If you've gone through the conditional sentences, you know it very well that in conditional sentences, when there is a combination of future clause, mean effect clause will be in future, then the first clause or the clause of cause will be in present tense. This is a natural relation, mean if he works hard, working hard is a cause that will result in he will succeed. So result will be the success and cause will be the hard work. So in these conditional sentence, cause and effect clauses has been associated with one another, but there is a tense link. For example, this one, effect is in future and cause is in present. Actually it is not in present. Even when you translate, you will say agar wo mehnat karega to kamyab hoga. But here, if he works hard, he will succeed. Mean if he will work hard in future, he will succeed. But grammatically, if we are saying if he will work hard, he will succeed, then it would be the wrong sentence. So to make it correct, we have to make a relation between these two clauses. That's why we use cause clause in present indefinite and the other in future. So that's why we use present indefinite tense in such clauses as well. Let's have a look at another example. I shall wait till you finish your lunch, means you are eating something, and when you will finish eating, she will wait till that time. So here this is future and this is present indefinite clause. So here in conditional sentences, if you use when that is related with the future, one clause in present indefinite tense. So this is another use. Now let's move on to another one. For example, you watch different kind of matches when the commentators are speaking. So there is a usual thing when the commentators are speaking, they are commenting about the present performance of the players. So when they are talking about the present performance of a player and their stress is on the successions of the happening rather than the duration, mean they are not focusing on what is happening right now, they are trying to discuss that this has been happened repeatedly. So at that time they will use present indefinite tense. Let's say, okay, let me give you a scenario, then you can understand it easily. So if you are witnessing a match and Babar Azam is playing quite well and he is also well, so Pakistan and Japan then commentator Babar Azam is hitting a boundary, he will say he hits a boundary, and he will never say he is accumulating the runs. He will say he accumulates 4 more runs. So he hits the boundary, like he hits the boundary. It is talking about now this sentence is quite evident that he usually plays well and he hit the boundaries well. Here we are not focusing at the moment about the duration, that now he is, we are not focused on now, or we are not focused on the duration, but we are focused on his skill of batting. So he hits the boundary. Here we will use present, he will use present indefinite instead of present continuous, because that is the succession of the happening that he hits the boundaries usually well. So overall, if you look at the uses of all present indefinite tense, you will find out ultimately they are linked somewhere with the habitual actions and routine. That's why on the first point I discussed that thing. Then let's move back to the last one. There are few verbs. If we are using those verbs in continuous tense, they will be wrong grammatically. So in that style we also use present indefinite tense. What those verbs are, uh, like we are talking about the taste. So these grapes are tasting sour. That would not be the right one. We can say these grapes taste sour when you are eating. Even in present continuous, the action is continuous, but even then you can't say that these grapes are tasting sour. You will say these grapes taste sour. Then I'm thinking you are wrong. That is also the wrong expression. Rather, you must say I am thinking, I think you are wrong. So here you are also using correctly the present indefinite tense. She is seeming sad. She seems sad. She is seeming sad is not correct. Though it is continuous, but you will use present indefinite in this situation. Then he is having a cell phone. So this is mistakenly spoken many times and considered right, but actually grammatically this is wrong. You can say he has a cell phone. So present simple, you can use present simple sentence, and we have already discussed about present simple sentence, and that is I told you in the Ren and Martin considered as present indefinite. So both have been put in the same category. So that's why instead of he is having phone, you should say he has a cell phone. So this was about present indefinite tense, and these are the scenarios and situations where you can use present indefinite tense. So whenever you're using, rather than going for the translation and rather than thinking about ta hai ti hai, you should better use present indefinite tense in the way as I have told you, and in the situation and the scenarios, keeping in mind the situations and scenario. Thank you very much. See you then. Allah Hafiz.